All right, everybody. Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Jack Griffin here with some severe weather updates for you. This is probably going to be the first of a few warnings that we are going to have. So I was just popping up a few things here with my settings, so that's why taking a little bit of some time here. But we've got our first warning here, and it is currently a tornado warning. So let me just make sure all my settings for my streams are all good to go. They appear to be fine just now, so that's good. And we will then continue on. So you'll see that first off, everything's moving very quickly. We have this tornado warning that goes into the portions of Montgomery County, and let me get the watches here for them to show up. Just checking a few more things here. Appreciate everybody being patient here. We've got probably a few warnings that we have yet to go still with today. We think that this is going to be kind of an active day with our weather. The National Weather Service is having a little bit of some issues with their internet connection, so we're going to try to hopefully have a good connection with that. But I'm just trying to switch up a few things here just to make sure that it's not anything on our end that's a problem. But yeah, it's going to be probably a busy day today with some of these alerts that we're going to be likely seeing across the viewing area. Again, I'm just kind of waiting for a new version of my radar to load up to make sure that everything is all good. Okay. Okay. So we have it for portions of Montgomery County and also even a little bit of Macoupin County as well, and this will be going until we're thinking about 1:30 or so. These cells have been moving pretty quickly in and out of the area, and these are going to be kind of just quick moving storms the entire day. In fact, what we're going to likely see will be these storms moving from the south to the north at around 50 miles an hour in many cases. So it's going to be very fast-moving storms with this setup for today. You're going to see that when I put it into motion that everything moves very quickly here. Again, you've got a little bit of the outage there because, again, we're losing some connection with the National Weather Service at times. It's gone down for a little bit, but it looks to be okay right now. But we are kind of watching things here with these storms and how quickly they're going to be moving. So that's going to be one of the things that we'll watch out for. These storms are going to be moving very fast off to the generally north-northeast direction. And so provide you with some of the information out of this one. Again, this tornado warning goes until about the next half hour or so. Really, these are all moving very quickly, so these will probably be, in many instances today, they'll probably be canceled early because maybe a new one has to form and a new one has to go until later on. So it goes until 1:45 for this tornado warning that we have here. Again, these storms don't look very impressive. You'll see that kind of putting it on the now, and I'm going to change it to our velocity. And you've got some rotation in there, but if I kind of back things up a little bit, you've got a little bit more in the way of a better view as it was coming out of the St. Louis area. And so one of the problems that we're going to have with our storms for today is going to be that maybe we get a brief little spin-up tornado and then it goes away very quickly, but the warning that we have will still go for half hour, 45 minutes, things like that. So that's going to be one of our problems with our forecast for today is that because these storms are moving so quickly, we'll probably have very old information very quickly. That'll be one of the hard things about today's forecast is that we're going to provide you with information, but because of how fast it's moving, that information may get pretty old pretty fast. So that'll be something that we have to kind of also talk about with our storms and the setup for today too, because it's just going to be one of these days here where we're going to get maybe a brief little spin up and it goes away very quickly, but we still have the warning and we may be on TV for a while or coverage with it for a while and be just going off of old information, and that's all we've got. So that might be what ends up being the case for today. But yeah, 1:45, these storms are moving awfully quick here, and we'll turn our reflectivity back on. So there are our cells there. Don't look very impressive. In fact, we'll turn on the lightning with these. There's only 2 lightning strikes with these. So a lot of these storms don't even have much in the way of lightning with them. Our problem really with today's forecast is going to be the fact that the low is not that far away, and that low is going to make things have a lot of spin with it. I'm going to turn the different radar on and then kind of go with that, and you're going to see that the low that we have is basically right in the middle of Missouri, kind of heading towards the Mississippi pretty quickly. And what we expect will be for this low to continue to spin in more and more of these storms. And so what we're expecting here is just everything to move very quickly. This thing is all going to be moving off to the northeast at a rapid pace. And so what that means is that we're likely going to be seeing a lot of these storms move very quickly. A lot of these storms will be done. We're not really calling for this to be a very late night either. But very fast moving storms with this is basically the name of the game here, because this low is tracking very fast off to our northeast. But that's there. So we've got a center of circulation that's already very close to the viewing area, and any storms that form, it's not that far away from essentially the source of the spin. And so that means that we're going to be looking at probably a few more of these tornado warnings to be coming out of the area. Not very strong tornadoes, we're thinking. You know, most things should be pretty weak, but this will probably be the first of a few of them that we are going to have for us here. There's a couple of what we call mesoscale discussions, which are products that the Storm Prediction Center puts out, and what that is essentially kind of lets us know like what's the best place and what's the best chance that we're likely going to see a severe thunderstorm or tornado watch. There's a fairly decent chance that we'll probably have a tornado watch issued at some point this afternoon for the viewing area. We're going to have to wait and see when they post it and what counties it includes, but it would not surprise me if we do get something that comes down here by about 1:30, 2 o'clock or so, if not even a little bit before that. But right now we just have one warning out there. It's at the bottom of our viewing area for our portions of extreme southeastern Macoupin County and going into Montgomery County. We have this tornado warning, and these storms moving pretty quickly throughout the area today. These storms are going to be essentially racing off to our northeast, and so if you were ever interested in looking at storms, today's really not the day to look at it. You're not going to be able to really see much structure out of these because of the rain, and they're moving so fast that it's just going to be a hard thing to watch. So we've got these going about 45 miles an hour to the north. So about, like I said, 45, 50 miles an hour to the north with this tornado warning. So we'll put a track on it. It's very small. These are just a few cells here. That's probably how a lot of these are going to be today, is that they may not actually look all that impressive on the radar. They may just look like some rain showers, but there's enough rotation within them because the low is not that far away to produce some of these tornado warnings. So again, just an example here of some of the timing. Olive at around 121. You've got Mount Olive at 130. Grisham at around 134. Litchfield at 140. Hillsborough at 143. Irving 151. Witt at 157. Nokomis 202. Audubon at 206. And Bear Creek at 211. So we've got these storms kind of moving off to the northeast very quickly, about 45, 50 miles an hour. And as of right now, there's no indication that this is actually on the ground, but it's got radar indicated rotation that'll go with it. And that's pretty much going to be how a lot of these will start off with, and we'll obviously have to wait and see if we get any reports from the ground that support anything that would be touching down just yet. But probably the first of a few warnings that we're going to see for today. Just opening up a few extra things here, so just give me 1 second. Yo, you can talk. What's up? Oh, I can. Okay. Yeah, I'm live on Facebook. Ryan is talking to me, one of our 509 guys.
We were trying to have a shoot around 1:30 or like 2. It would be at 2, but we're going to be in here setting up. Are we able to, or you guys?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
If we have these warnings still, it might.
Just making sure so that we can switch it and have a plan B.
I would just go to plan B.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah, for sure.
With our sets under construction, we have to share our studio, and with the warnings that we're probably going to have today, we're probably going to take over our studio for today. So really, what they're also kind of like I'm mentioning here too with the National Weather Service, it seems to be kind of a national issue that I'm just kind of reading right now in terms of their connectivity, their internet. So we're still kind of watching how things are going to take over in terms of if we may have to switch the radar to a different type to get better input if we lose it. So the storm that has got a tornado warning with it, it does look a bit more disorganized. We're still going to keep an eye on it though. And we're going to be looking at this thing to potentially cycle a few times. What that means is most likely with our cycling that it'll go from a period of being weak to a period where it gets a little bit stronger. And right now it's in a period where it is definitely pretty weak. We've got the velocity here showing that really not much in the way of any rotation currently, so it's pretty disorganized right now. A couple little spin-ups possible there, but really not much there. So that's one thing that's a good thing. But we've just got a lot in the way of this rotation, this vorticity in the atmosphere that we can tap into to create some of these rotating thunderstorms. And with there just being a lot of it here, we may not necessarily have to have it be very hot, very humid for things to get going. So this is very much your typical fall-like type of event where, you know, it's warm and it's humid out there today for sure, but it's something record-breaking. But with this low being as close as it is, they've got the ability to spin here pretty quick. So we just got a new little update flashed onto that update. And we'll see if they've done anything. So they're still keeping that until 1:45. Just checking a few more things out here. No, okay. So, just to reset here, I'm going to take the wide out zoom. Appreciate everybody watching. Like I said, this might be the first of a few warnings that we do have for today. Here we go with our storm tracker Doppler. We've got our entire low back off to our west, and we've got these storms pinwheeling around the low as these come on through. I'm going to turn on a different radar to make that look a little bit easier for you. So, here's our low right there, the center of that low moving very fast off to the northeast. Along and ahead of that, we've got the warm air and the humid air, and there's enough ingredients with our atmosphere today to produce thunderstorms with the ability to have some spin with it, some rotation with it. We do have this tornado warning that does cover portions of Montgomery County and even a little bit of Macoupin County in the southeast corner of that until 1:45. But these storms are moving very fast off to our northeast in many spots at around 45 to 50 miles an hour. So it's going to be a day where these storms may produce something and it'll be very fast moving. And so it's possible that our information and our warnings may actually be a little outdated pretty quickly. So we're going to have to keep on refreshing things. So kind of more than anything else, I'm going to be looking at a few things here on my screen just because of the fact that with them moving so fast, if I can get more information, that'll obviously help things out. So it's obviously a very warm and humid day today, but there's cloudy skies, so we don't have a lot of instability, but our wind shear is very good with our forecast for today, and that's why a lot of these storms, if they do go severe, it's most likely going to be for a tornado warning because of that rotation that a lot of these storms are going to be exhibiting. So these are usually not going to have the best looking radar signature where we can kind of see the greens and the reds kind of matching up with each other. It's most likely not going to look very good like that. So we may actually end up getting essentially a few more tornado warnings than would typically be the case, just because of the fact that with these storms and how fast they move, it might be better to warn it just out of abundance of caution. And so we may actually have a few more of them for today, and they just may not, like I said, look like your classic supercell thunderstorms with our velocity. And I'll show you one example of that right now. You'll see that, that this velocity here does not look to be very impressive with these storms. In fact, it just looks very, very disorganized right now. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem today, is that we may not have exactly the best looking velocity images with a lot of these storms, because the way that they're kind of moving off to the north and northeast direction, but the winds are coming in more out of the south, and so the rotation is there, just not in a way that's going to look very good with our radar products. Got our storm reports here. We do have one that was from the St. Jacob area with a funnel cloud, but that's in the Metro East area of St. Louis. So right now, I really have not seen much more in the way of anything particularly noteworthy. Turn our warnings back on here. So it does include the Washville area, the Mount Olive area, Litchfield, Hillsboro. That's where we've got our warning. And again, it goes until 1:45, which is in the next 19 minutes. Again, velocity, like I've been saying, not looking to be too good looking or impressive looking with our storms for today. And it's kind of going through a little bit of a weakening process too. Here's what it looks like on the Doppler radar. And you might be thinking, like, this doesn't look like anything. These just look like a few showers. And so a lot of times that is, in fact, what ends up happening, is that there's just not much there. It's just kind of a rain shower, but it's got enough of that rotation to produce a funnel cloud or even a tornado. Other storms, though, that we have a bit more in the way of some lightning activity, more into the viewing area. And we'll put the spin on it here, and you kind of show that, again, they're moving off generally to the northeast, but they're moving very quickly in that direction. But there's a little bit more in the way of lightning with these storms over on the eastern side of our viewing area. You got this other batch of storms that have formed in Sangamon County, and turning the loop on those, you'll see that those are kind of moving basically from the straight south to the straight north. So it's a little bit more of a different pattern. And then you've got these storms that are back here, and these are moving almost straight to the east. So we have all these storms moving in different directions based on how close or how far away they are from the low, and that low, again, is over Missouri right now. So this is providing us with the atmospheric ingredients that we need to have these storms to produce some rotation with them. And since it's close by and going pretty much right over us or very close to us, we've got these storms that are in very close proximity to that source of the rotation, and that's why we expect this to probably last a little bit longer here and probably give us a few more warnings throughout the afternoon. This type of setup usually doesn't have the strongest of the storms. These are usually going to be your weaker variety thunderstorms with tornado warnings with them. So these would be kind of smaller tornadoes, most likely associated with this type of setup. But the problem with this setup, though, is going to be not necessarily the strength of these storms or the strength of these tornado warnings. It's going to be how fast that they move, and that's going to be one of our problems for today. I have this fly that keeps flying around my head, and it's like, I showered, I promise, but it just will not go away. Shoe fly don't bother me. So we'll go back to our regular view of our radar, and what you'll notice is that the ones coming in over the Mississippi right now between Quincy down south, closer towards St. Louis, that's going to be potentially another source of some warnings for us that would potentially go into our viewing area. This might turn a little bit more to the northeast, so it may stay on the western side of I-55. We just kind of watch and see how that plays out. But right now, just have the one warning still for portions of Macoupin as well as Montgomery counties, and it goes until 1:45, so the next 15 minutes. These look to be nothing right now, so that's just interesting to see. Just checking a few things out. So this storm definitely has weakened out significantly here. So this is probably not going to do really much else unless it's going to start to intensify a bit more. But even right now, some of the cells that were at one point fairly strong over the Litchfield area are now technically just outside of the warned area. So I'm waiting to see here for confirmation to see if they're going to drop this one. Like I said, that's probably going to happen quite a bit here. Well, they're still going to continue it here until 145. So they're going to keep this thing. That just came down. But that's going to be potentially a thing today with our warnings. Will be them getting canceled earlier because of how fast these storms move, how fast these will be kind of collapsing and strengthening and then collapsing again. And so this will probably be a fairly common sight for today. Got the fly that just landed on my hand. We'll see if I can get it here. Nope. It's always something here in the studio. So they made that warning now much smaller, and it's just including this little shower right there. And again, that may not look very good. Okay, it's gone now. And okay, then they canceled it a minute later. So we are now warning free, but I highly suspect that will not be the last warning that we have for today. Things are a little bit more quiet down here in the southern part. Those are really weakened out here significantly. These ones off more to the eastern side, so heading towards your Oakland area, Tolono, south of Champaign, into Vermilion County. All these are a lot more scattered in nature, and there's really not much in the way of velocity that would show anything too good there. There's a few spots of some broad rotation, but nothing that we're really too concerned about currently. So what we're probably going to do here is just sign off and kick back on again if we need to later on. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that we're going to do this again just because the setup is still there. The low has not passed us through just yet. And as of right now, we don't actually have any tornado watches just yet, and we kind of think that there will be one that's posted. If anything, these storms right here are probably going to be our next go-to for our next source of warnings. So, like I said, I'm gonna sign off here. That way I can get some of the stuff done for the forecast tonight. It's just me tonight. We've got Kevin off, and Jacob's still off, and Amelia worked this morning, so you'll be stuck with me today for your severe weather coverage. But like I said, this will probably be, you're probably not done seeing me yet with these warnings. So I'll bring you more of them throughout the day, and we'll do that. So I'll most likely be seeing you again, and to stay weather aware today if you are heading out and about, and we'll have all the updates during the newscast. If we get anything in terms of damage, we'll let you know everything. We'll see you later.